Well, twice last week, the Five of Swords was drawn as the day card from the Black Flame Tarot, and today we see it again. It's decided to make yet another appearance. I will post the related videos in the description area so you can take a look at those. I'd like to discuss the Five of Swords a little differently than I did last time. We don't necessarily want to make it an exercise in redundancy. So this time, I'd like to remind you viewers that, first of all, the fives in general represent a moving out of the comfort zone, moving out of the stable, firm, 4-point foundation into something less certain but more rewarding. And in this case, the swords, those refer to intellect. So it'll involve a change, an advancement in thought type and thought patterns. Think of the aces through fours as necessary formative cards. And so you have the ace, which involves potential not yet realized. You have the twos, which involve gestation, sort of like the growth of the cells into a baby in the womb receiving nourishment, or a seed planted and watered but not yet growing. Into the threes, which refer to the growth, sometimes exponential and drastic. Into the fours, which involve, again, a comfort safety zone, 4 walls in a house, which help block outside forces and factors. A 4-point foundation, very stable. And then we have the fives. Now, those first 4 parts of the process involve a lot of other influence. We learn from others. We develop from the materials available to us from others. A lot of external input going on. The fives suggest a coming into awareness of ourselves and more dependence on ourselves for becoming more refined versions of ourselves, relying on others less. In the case of the Five of Swords, learning to think more for ourselves. The Black Flame Tarot emphasizes this throughout the fives in the Minor Arcana. Look for a moment at the Five of Swords, where we see the swords of the intellect cutting through the cloud cover that obscures one's view of oneself. And when we zoom in here, what does that cut through cloud cover reveal if not a pentagram, a symbol of ourselves, of our individual nature within the universe, and our recognition that we don't have to rely on that universe for everything. In terms of thought, might mean a little less steady diet in terms of media input, entertainment of all sorts, and more intellectual pursuits. Do we rely on a particular academic? Granted, experts have expert status for a reason, and we shouldn't disregard them. But do we form our own opinions after we've investigated things for ourselves? Or do we rely on the views of someone else who's read a primary source, for example? We live in a time and place that makes it very easy not to think for ourselves and not to define ourselves. The 5 indicates that we've come to a position where we want to combat that and cut through that garbage, frankly, so that we can get a view of ourselves and begin exploring, developing, and discovering. 2 of the others in the 5s also refer to the pentagram, either directly or by suggestions. We have the lines connecting the pentagrams in the 5 of that suit, and we have the lines implied in the cups. A lot of self-discovery involved in the 5 as a phase, regardless of the suit. So we can certainly take a lesson from these as well. In this, as I mentioned, we've got the cutting through the cloud cover. Here we see the red and green in the background. As we see green here, this definitely indicates some action on our part. These swords won't get swung around, and they won't cut through things with precision if we don't lift them up. And the blue and purple in the cups signifies some wisdom that comes from getting in touch, becoming receptive to our intuition. And while the wands have not been arranged in a pentagram fashion, we also see the purple and the green, which respectively again represent wisdom and growth. We can create a feedback loop with ourselves to establish that growth, but we first have to find ourselves. We have to cut through those things, cut through all that noise, and get in touch with ourselves. A lot of ways to do that: meditation, other mental exercises, many practices which you can search for or devise on your own. But I suggest doing some meditation. Go on a walk. Enjoy yourself without all the noise. Go on a walk without an audiobook. Go on a walk without your iPod or tablet. Have some time with you so that you can begin to uncover parts of yourself and your, in this case, mental processes, which will allow you to move even further in this journey. I apologize. My throat, as you can probably hear, has begun to develop something. So I will give it a rest and let you get to that contemplation. In the meantime, please, of course, leave your thoughts and comments in the description below. And please subscribe. You'll receive updates as they get made throughout the week. And for more frequent and daily updates and material, please follow me on the Instagram and Facebook accounts listed in the description. Until next time, folks, stay well. Make some of this a theme for your day, and keep transforming.